Hi, Dr. Perry Nickelston. It's so nice to see you again. We had such a success with our first podcast on the Big Six and lymphatic drainage. With 11,000 viewers, I want to thank you for being part of this gift to the explant breast implant community or anyone who wants to detox with your guidance.
Absolutely. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for having me back on. I love to teach about the big six. It can definitely change your life. And the way I figure I'm going to do it is that I teach this to my real life clients that come in to see me all the time as their own self-care routine. So I'm going to be explaining it to everyone watching here, basically like you're in my office with me, taking into consideration a lot of the different types of questions that I get when somebody sees the big six for the first time. Okay, that makes sense. So you'll get how really simple it is, but the key is to just go by how you feel. The non-negotiable here that never ever changes this one fundamental rule. You can't change the order. That always has to stay the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do not mix it up because your results will not be as good. So we always start at spot number 1, and that is the collarbone. We're going to cover 2 places at the collarbone. You have a space above the collarbone, and you have a space below the collarbone. So I'm going to break this up a little bit for people. So we go above, we go below, and then we go above. Okay. We're going to start on the left side collarbone first. The reason that we do that is that most of the lymphatics drain here. That's the biggest drain. And when it gets stuck here, it backs up everywhere. All right. You're going to go underneath the collarbone on the left-hand side and just place a few fingers underneath it. Okay? And all I want you to do there is apply pressure, but don't cause pain. And I want you to start rubbing in circles, clockwise and counterclockwise, just different directions. There's no magical amount of number. Start with 5 or 10 each way, whatever feels good. Okay. You can press harder, but don't cause pain. That's the number 1 rule, right? And then from there, just go in different directions, across, up and down rubs like that, different directions. Now you're going to do the same thing above the collarbone. You'll need to lighten up your pressure here a little bit because it's a little more sensitive above. Place your fingers above the collarbone and now do circles again. About 5 to 10 one way, 5 to 10 the other way, and then go back and forth, up and down, kind of diagonals. And after that, I want you to take your hand, your whole hand, place it on the collarbone, a little bit above and a little bit below, and do light taps. 10 to 15, somewhere in that ballpark. Okay. That's the left side, spot number 1. Now you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Go underneath the collarbone on the right, and then do circles. And I want you to notice, does one side feel more tender, more tight, more pain? Because it's a different drain on that side. Okay?
Yeah.
If it hurts more, just lighten up your pressure a little bit. Maybe take a little bit longer. That's okay. And then now go back side to side, up and down, some diagonals. Okay. Now go above the collarbone. Same thing. Circles. This is such an important spot to work for the drainage everywhere in the body. Okay? And then go the other way. And then do across, up and down in different directions. Okay? From there, do your little taps. Whole hand on, above, and below. Now, I'd also like to give you a little bit of a variation on how much you move your skin. This is just going to be helpful for you to change up the flow a little bit, right? There's some times where when you're on the skin, I want your hand to move easily over the skin. You see how the hand is making nice circles?
You put any
And
oil
then,
on it or no need for oil?
well, oil can be good. not necessarily better, but so let me answer that question when I'm done with this part, and you'll know what I mean.
Yeah.
Then I want you to, instead of like rubbing your skin, your hand gliding over it, put a little more pressure. So now the hand is not really sliding so much, but the skin is doing most of the movement. Do you see the difference on my skin here?
Yeah.
This as opposed to this. So when you hold more pressure on, the skin moves a lot more. You get a lot more pulling underneath to move the stagnation.
Yeah.
Now, oil can be great because you can slide and glide, and it might be a little bit more comfortable for you, especially if you're going to use different type of instruments. Sometimes people like to use gua sha tools in there a little bit,
Mhm.
and the oil will definitely be a lot more comfortable. But it can also be helpful to not have oil. And the number one reason is friction. Because now you're going to have more of a snag and a pull on the skin and on the fascia without the oil.
Yeah, it makes
But
sense.
here's the great thing. I tell people mix it up and do both. See which one you like. And, you know, hey, today, doc, I feel like doing the oil. And then tomorrow, I don't do the oil. Does that make
Perfect.
sense?
Yeah, that's
It's not a wrong, it's a most important thing though, is not a wrong move. Okay. Spot number one always comes first. I would encourage people to stay at spot number one a little longer than all of the other spots because it's the main drain. Right. Now, I want to put a star next to this here as well. You may have to revisit spot one after you do the big six. So this is an extra one for people that are experiencing the breast explant because they notoriously have slow drains. And when you go back to number one at the end, you definitely ensure that it's open for all the flow that's been trying to go there. Do
yeah.
you follow? Okay. So we're going to do a 1 through 6, and we're going to go back to one as a bonus for the people that are watching. Now, spot number two is on the side of the neck, at the top of the neck, behind the angle of the jaw, right there. That's the largest lymph node in the neck. Okay. So that's why it's really important to work this one. This one you can do one side at a time, or you can do both sides at a time. Okay? But listen up. This is really important. Okay. Running along the side of your neck here is the blood flow to your brain and what's called the carotid arteries. So if you choose to do both sides at the same time, do not press in hard on both sides because you're going to cut off blood flow to your brain and you're going to pass out.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's one reason why I like to do one side at a time. Plus, it just gives you a little bit more body awareness so you can compare one side to the other side. So let's do one side at a time so we can keep it consistent.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the left-hand side. Take a couple of your fingertips, put it right behind the angle of the jaw right there, and then let's circle about 10 to 20 times one way, 10 to 20 times the other way, up and down, side to side, like this. And then you're going to go to the other side. Circles. Doesn't matter which way you start as long as you go both ways. Then up and down, front to back, do diagonals, just like that. And if you want to tap, lightly tap with your fingertips. I will tell you, some people don't like to tap in that region because it's too close to the head and it feels uncomfortable. If you don't want to tap, then rub a little longer. Okay. And now what's happening is two is going to start draining to one. 1, 2. Now we go to number 3. Number 3 is at the shoulder joint. This is the they call this pectoral for your pec, axillary for the armpit. Now you can see why this one would take a heavy hit with the people that are following your work. Yes?
Yes.
He's had a lot of trauma here. So this is the one where we're going to explore a large area here. I want it to be on the pec, underneath the pec a little bit, but in front of the shoulder right here.
Yeah.
So put your whole hand right there, and I want you to do those rubs counterclockwise and clockwise.
Actually, it goes.
Now go kind of towards the shoulder, towards the pec, up towards the trap, down towards the hand, different directions. You see what I'm doing? I'm kind of making a star here.
Yeah.
And then lightly tap right across the whole pec, and fingers kind of go underneath a little bit right there.
Yeah.
The more you open your shoulder, the more you get in there. Now 3 is going to start rushing towards 1. Right?
Yeah.
Now we go to the other side. Same thing. Okay. Do your circles. Go the other way. And don't stop breathing. Always make sure you breathe. No pain. Nothing should ever hurt when you do these. That's big. Now go up and down, side to side, diagonals. Remember, don't stress about the number. It's okay. All right. Now, lightly tap. Easy. So we've done number 1, number 2, number 3. Now, number 4 is going to be lower. Okay. Number 4 is going to be in the abdomen. So what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to lose my voice on the screen here, is I'm going to walk you through this.
Yeah.
Now, most of your lymph is in the abdomen. So you're going to place one hand flat across the belly button. Okay. And then put your other hand stacked on top of that hand above. So move it up.
Yeah. Let me just readjust it. Yeah.
Yep.
Can you see
So
me?
look at me. I want your hands like that.
Oh, like that.
Like that. Do you see how you're covering the whole belly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now what I want you to do is press in there a little bit and do circles with both hands one way. There you go. Right. Now this is an area where you can put more pressure in the belly because these lymph nodes are deep.
Yeah.
Now do them the other way. Now, if you want to stack your hands on top of each other, so now do it this way. Put your hands like this. You can do it that way too. Okay. Now rub. Some people like that because they have more pressure from 2 hands. What I want to get across is just change it up. The most important thing is that you rub in your belly. That's it. Yeah. Now do this. Go like that, like a scissor. There you go. Just like that.
It's a good arm exercise.
Rub it. Yeah, I mean, I want you to rub your belly everywhere you can. I want you to make hieroglyphic shapes on your belly. That's what I want you to do. Now, stack your hands like you did the first time, like this, and now gently slap your belly. Now, I'm going to give you a number on this one. Okay, when I teach the Big 6, normally I'll tell people try to do that 5 to 10 times. I would like for you to do it 25 to 50 times.
Oh.
Okay. Because it's such a big area to work.
Yeah, it feels good.
Just don't cause pain.
Yeah. It feels like it's breathing by itself now, that area.
Yeah. Yeah. Very important area to work. Now that's number 4. 5 is what they call the inguinal or crease of the groin. Right there you go, right there. Okay. You can do both of these at the same time if you like. So put your hand right at the crease of the groin, right in the middle, and do circles. There you go. Clockwise, counterclockwise. And remember, you can do one side at a time if you like. Now let's go directions. I want you to go like the crease of the groin, just like that. Yeah. Yeah. Now go straight up and down from your head to the floor like that. Good. And now do a couple of other directions like that. That's it. Perfect. Now lightly tap. lightly tap, hit the crease of the groin. Tap, 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 just like you did the shoulder, like this. Yeah, you can hit harder than that.
Feels actually good because it breathes. It's nice. It's a nice sensation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the
Whew.
last one,
That's
that's
a workout.
yeah. Well, I'm having people spend a little more time on this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we got one left.
Yeah.
That's spot number 6. That's you already know where it's coming.
Yeah.
Spot number 6 is
Up with
behind the
it.
knee. Now, behind the knee, you get to it however you want. Sitting, standing, you can do one at a time or both. Same thing. Do circles behind the knee. Both ways.
Is this place supposed to be tender or feel a little bit swollen, or does that mean that the lymph is sort of clogged?
No, it's not. Well, it's not normally supposed to be puffy, tender, or swollen unless your body is fighting something off.
Yeah.
And it's going to be that way if you've had stagnated lymph and blood flow, because normally it's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it is in most people because most people have stagnated lymph. They just don't know it.
Tap.
Now, rub up and down behind the knee from the hamstring to the calf. And then after you go up and down, go side to side. Good. Now slap and tap right behind the knee. And then do the same thing on the other side. Okay. So let's revisit the other knee. And notice the difference between one knee and the other knee. Do your circles.
I actually feel that one side is, the left is always more stagnated. I can actually feel it.
Yeah.
Up and down, side to side, tapping.
Yeah.
So how many minutes, 1, 2 minutes, you normally spend on each side? Is that a good amount of time?
Yeah, you don't even need to do that much, but it really just depends on a few things. Okay. I want you to keep something in mind that more doesn't always mean better.
Okay, that's
The
good.
the key is consistency, which means I'd like you to try to do this once a day for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But the longer you spend on a spot, obviously the more time it takes, right? So if you're like in a pinch and you're like, Doc, I don't have much time, well, you still do the sequence, but instead of rubbing 10 to 20 circles, you only do 5. Right? You get in and you get out. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes. How soon would you feel a difference?
Okay. Many times initially you'll start to, because a few important points here. One is that if you really haven't moved your lymphatics before, ever, or in a long time, you're likely going to feel worse before you feel better, because that's just what they call a normal detoxification reaction, where your immune system is responding to all of the stagnation that you just freed up and you got to get out.
What are those symptoms of detox that you're talking about?
Kind of anything, honestly, but the easiest way to think about it is you had a rough night out at the bar and you didn't get in until 6 a.m. You're tired, you're fatigued, you're lethargic, you might even feel nauseous. Some people initially feel sometimes worse with their presenting symptoms before it gets better, and that's also normal. So it's really important that people don't get nervous and freak out here.
Yeah.
Because this waste that you have had for decades likely has been stirred up and now it has to get out, but your immune system is going to try to kill all that waste as it goes out. And so the symptoms are very often the healthy response to the muck that's been, I call it muck, that's been stuck there for a while.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The reason I designed the Big Six is because when you do these primary areas, as opposed to really doing the whole body from the hands, the feet, the back, that can often overload the system. This one seems to be an easier way for people to introduce their body into the work when they do it. The important thing to note is this. If you have a detoxification reaction, whether it's mild or more intense, I don't want you to repeat the Big Six reset again until your body begins to feel a bit better.
Yeah.
you don't want to overload the system that's already trying to heal itself
We take a
with
break of
more.
a day or two. And I want to ask
Yeah.
you, if you can touch
Yeah.
a little bit about the importance of drinking and hydrating your body with alkaline water when you are detoxing, and of course, when you're doing the lymphatic drainage.
Hydration is going to be big when you're trying to heal from any type of disease, illness, or injury, because the human body is mostly water, and your lymphatic system is about 90% water. And here's what really blows people away when I tell them is that the cerebrospinal fluid that coats your brain and your spinal cord and the nerves is 99% water. 99.
Mm.
So if you're dehydrated, all of those symptoms are already dysfunctional.
Yeah.
So you have to hydrate. That's why it's a good idea to drink some water before the big six and after the big six, and your detoxification type reactions will likely be less intense
Mhm.
because when you have the lymphatics, it's full of muck, which is waste. And if you're dehydrated, the muck is actually thicker because you don't have enough water to dilute it. Does that make sense?
A lot of sense.
You don't want thick muck. Trust me, that's not going to work out well for you. So you have to do the hydration. And when you're done with the big six, I want you to go back and do number one spot one more time.
I have one last question um, about castor oil. Castor oil is known to what's called the oil pulling of toxin.
Mm-hmm.
I've suggested some of my students to put castor oil on the belly at night and do the lymphatic drainage like the way you have taught us.
Mm-hmm.
What is your experience with castor oil when doing lymphatic drainage?
I love castor oil in general. I've interviewed many experts who do it. It's on my social media platform talking about the value of castor oil. And you can also, of course, have the castor oil packs that work really well, particularly over the abdomen and the liver, because the liver produces 50% of your entire body's lymph. I'm going to say that one again
Oh,
because
wow.
not many people know that.
No.
The liver is going to produce up to 50% of the lymph in the body. So if you have a lymph problem, everybody, you got a liver problem.
Hmm.
So you can't just focus on the lymph around your armpit here without focusing on the lymph in your liver.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why it's good. This is a case in point where maybe you'll put some castor oil on spot 4 and massage that and spend a little bit more time there. I like to put castor oil at spot 1 and 2 a lot as well.
Oh, wow, that's great, I think. That's
Because
perfect.
you'll help all the stuff that drains in the neck, because people who listen to our prior episode, most of the lymph in your body is located in the gut and in your neck. So
Absolutely.
that's why we castor oil those regions, because that castor oil also pulls out the muck that's in there. And it's a nice little glide along the tissues when you
Perfect.
do it.
You,
So when you free up the lymph, you free up the blood flow. So you're actually going to be opening up all these routes in your body to get more of everything great that you want, like oxygen and nutrients, and get the bad stuff out. So you naturally feel more energetic, more alive, because that the fluids do that. The fluids keep you functioning. And when they don't move well, it's really straightforward. You don't function well. So
absolutely. This is
if you
why,
get them moving like that, uh, then the body can do what it naturally knows how to do, which is to heal you, because you're not supposed to feel crappy all the time.
oh, absolutely. So that's why we added the big six and the lymphatic drainage, because this is so important when you are actually going on an alkaline detox diet and you have all of a sudden you're overloading and your lymphatic system. And it's really such an amazing help to eliminate and take it out. And I want to thank you again for enriching our community and taking your time. I know you're so busy with so many followers, and you are in your clinic as well in New Jersey. So I'm going also to link your information below to anyone who want to contact you or have any question. And I'm so thankful and so blessed to have you in our platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And there's one thing, if I have a moment, I'd like to answer another common question that I get, if I may.
Of course.
People always ask me about, well, what about the arms and the legs, doc? And what do you do there? And can you dry brush?
Oh,
The
wow.
answer is yes. Dry brushing is wonderful. It works fantastic. But if you'll find, if you say you don't want to rub and slap and do all those, you can use your dry brush
Yeah.
in the big six regions by moving that in circles the same way. And you can lightly tap with the brush too if you want, like that. Then, so do the big six first, then you can go back and brush your arms and your legs. And the reason being is this: the arms and the legs are going to drain to those points you just cleared anyway.
Yeah.
So if you clear those big 6 points first, the arms and the legs are already starting to move, and then you can brush them. You will notice a substantial difference if you do big six,
Right.
then brush places, as to just starting your brushing in the bottom of your feet and working your way up.
Okay. Perfect.
Let's take it this. Let's say you do your six, right?
Yeah.
Then people would start in the bottom of the foot, and then they'd work your way up and in the arm. You're going to get the big six again because you have to go over them
Oh, okay.
to work back towards the collarbone.
Yeah.
But that's not the same as doing the six first and then going back out to work your way in, because this is all, everyone listening, this is all based on the what's called the physiology or the hydrodynamics of how those fluids move.
Yes.
When you understand that, you understand why the big six should come first and the legs can come up and arms can come up. So I'm not saying that you can't start down there and work up, because you're going to move the lymph. It's going to move either way. But what you'll find is when you do it big six, then you brush the arms and the legs, see how that feels. Then do it the other way, and you'll know what I'm talking about, because you'll feel the difference between the two.
I think we did mention in the previous podcast, which was longer, that the fluid are moving from high pressure to low pressure. And I think this,
That is correct. Everything wants to go to spot one. Number one. That's the big drain. This is really important because it's really important for the lymph. That's the big drain for the lymph. But even more important, honestly, is it's the big drain for your veins.
yes,
They go to the same spot. And when you know about lymphatics, you say to yourself, wow, isn't that where the lymphatics actually dump back into the vein system at the collarbone? And yes, you would be correct. So you don't want stuck pressure in either one of those areas when you work them. Okay. So opening that area up for the veins and the artery, excuse me, the veins and the lymph is crucial, really big.
Yeah. Well, I think we covered it, and I know that our student in this platform will really enjoy this, amazing information that you're sharing. And this is not the kind of information that you can find in a textbook for sure. I know that from your story.
Probably not.
You have so much experience and you have healed yourself. I think this is such an important story, that you have actually healed yourself, and this is how you came up with this program.
Yes, honestly, I came up with it out of necessity to rescue myself.
Yes. So we know it works.
I can tell you, I've been doing this for many years, and I get messages every single day from all over the world, from all different types of people with all different types of conditions and diagnoses, and I mean, you name it, people that have been suffering for a long period of time. And I kind of get emotional when I talk about this stuff, because they tell me how this simple thing with the six
Yeah.
changed their life. Like they're literally astounded of how much of a difference it made, because it seems so simple. And then that's my point. It
Yes.
is simple, but effective things don't have to be complicated. And when you understand what I just told you about what is around where you're slapping, tapping, and rubbing, you know why it works. And then when you understand the order of fluid flow, well, then you really understand why it works.
Yeah, that's why I think it's so crucial, for the success of any detoxification program.
Yeah, to me, it really doesn't matter what label you've been given by medicine or what you have. You clear the big six regardless. That's it. Because if I know we get that system moving better,
Yeah.
everything inside of the body has the potential at that standpoint to function better. And that's what you need in order to heal and recover and regenerate. But without fluids moving, I'll stand by this until I'm dead.
Yeah,
Without fluids moving, you're not getting better.
absolutely. Dr. Perry Nickelston, I want to thank you so much for being here with us. And I can't wait to see how it's going to change the lives of the people who are practicing it on this platform too.
Me too, because it's gonna.
So we'll be in touch very soon,
Yes,
hopefully.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. And just all the information about Dr. Perry Nickelston, you can find below in our link. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.